Hello and welcome to our video on the racing screen. Today we're going to go through all the items on the race screen, give you a good look at all the details behind what you can do, and walk through a couple of race scenarios just to get you ready for using the racing screen in LiveTime. To start, we've already created a race in a round in the schedule, and I'm now on the race screen looking at it. It's a race with 5 drivers, and you notice that they're all in red initially, which means we see them as part of the race, but their transponder has not gone over a start-finish loop yet. So we can't confirm that we know that the transponder is good. In a lot of racing, in order to make sure that everything is ready to go, all the equipment is ready before we start, typically have everybody go over or do a parade lap or go over the start-finish line. You can just see there, Corey crossed the line with transponder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It flashes and announces their name by default. So your goal here is to go through and make sure that everybody crosses the line, flashes their name before you start. Otherwise, you're not sure if the transponder is actually working and will count during the race. Sometimes what will happen is a transponder will cross the loop and the system doesn't know who's it's assigned to. We're going to simulate that here in a second. When a transponder does cross, it's going to pop up at the bottom as an unknown driver. There's grips next to this where you can click the mouse and drag it over the top of the person whose transponder it is. So I'll do that now. It'll then assign him, which you'll see the number is assigned to him now, and his name is no longer red. It's white. Let's go through the race screen a bit more before we actually begin the race. So you'll notice on the left-hand and the right-hand side of the race screen, there are pop-outs that you can click on and you can pop them in and out. The first one, the upper left settings, it's a big deal to make sure that these settings are correct before you start the race. However, the system does allow you to change them mid-race, and when you do that, the whole race recalculates and gets back up to a live status as if that setting was changed to your new change from the get-go. So if I start the race with a minimum lap time of 10 seconds and go, oh shoot, it really should have been 5, and I go in here and change it during the race, you'll see the system will immediately update the whole race, and everybody that got a lap that was between 5 and 10 seconds would now be counted, and the whole race would recalculate and resort for you automatically. So we do let you get out of jail if you create a problem without having to stop and restart the entire race or wait until the end to edit it. All edits are live and do immediately affect what you're seeing on the screen. Options showing up on settings not only include changing the minimum lap time, but changing how you deal with heads-up races. It can also deal with, are you going to count laps during caution? We do have a yellow and red flag option that's turned on optionally. You can also adjust what statistics will take into account. So you can say, hey, that first lap, do we want to count the first lap towards the fastest lap or top 3 consecutive? If I'm doing staggered starts or if I'm doing a heads-up start, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. We give you these options. Again, if you decide to change these options during the race, the whole race will recalculate and adhere to whatever you choose. Further down at the bottom, you can also indicate if you want the system to automatically mark drivers as DNS, which means did not start, or DNF, which is did not finish. This is automatically determined, but if you don't want that, you can turn them off, and then you can manually flag people as DNS and DNF during or after the race is needed. You can also mark people DNS prior to the race. Let's say they get disqualified or they're not going to show up. I can show you how to do that here in a minute too in the adjustments flyout on the right-hand side. Next on the left, there's the notes flyout. This is just a giant text box where you can type in any notes you want. These notes do appear on printouts and they also do appear online. So this is a way for you to add extra context around the race. If somebody is awarded an adjustment or a lap or a DQ, you could put information here and that will display and be communicated to everybody who looks at your printouts and sees the results you post online. On the left-hand side, the next item is columns. There are a lot of columns that you can choose from and show on the race screen. You can also, by the way, all the ones you are showing, you can reorganize them. So you can click on any column header, click and drag and say, maybe I want the pace to show behind the lead. Maybe I want the lap time to show up in front of the laps. You can click and drag and move these things around, but then you can also turn them on and off. Like you can see the pace right here. I'm going to uncheck it. It's gone. Check it. It shows back up. So you can determine which columns you want and reorder them on the race screen at any given time. Further customization, you can change coloring. What color do you want it to flash when someone crosses the line? What do you want the fast lap coloring to look like? What do you want when they're in a pit lane or not, or a segment? All of these things can be adjusted. They can be adjusted on the fly, and they get saved, and they are global. So they're not class specific or event specific. If you change what this color is, that will be the color it uses for every race, for every event in this system, in this software. So just understand this is a global setting. We have a section for cameras. This is when you're attaching this to OBS and you're doing camera switching. Again, you can time it to do certain scene changes based on how far they in an average lap. Do you want to follow the leader or not? Things like that can be adjusted here in the camera switching piece. And there's also a quick option to go to reports. So the same reports you could get in schedule, you can get from the race screen as well. So you can view and print these lineups and staging reports without having to go back and forth between the schedule menu and the racing option at the top. Okay, so those are the items on the left. Let me walk through what's on the right-hand side. The first option is the race browser. This allows you to have a quick peek at every race and every round and the entire system. So if you want to take a look back at the results, this will show results once those races are over. Or if you're using this to determine marshals or volunteers, you can look at, hey, who's behind this race, who's ahead of it, and you can use it to call out those names and identify those people. By the way, if you also want to put in a quick note about a prior race, you can go to that race and type it in here too. You don't need to change it on the whole race screen. Laps and splits. Once we start the race, you're going to notice here, this is a quick list of all the laps, sectors, everything for every driver in the current race. So if you're running a very long race and they're 30 laps long and you want to go in and look at what was their second lap again, you can do this flyout, select the name in the list. Everybody that's in the race is in this list. You can even sort it by position or car number if you've got a long list and it's hard to find the person. And then you can go ahead and view the laps and edit them. I'll show that once the race is starting. Adjustments is where you can go to determine if someone has a status you want to change or if you want to make a lap or time adjustment. You can do this before the race, during the race. After the race, you have to do it in the editor. But you can do this live. So if you're running a long race and you decide to penalize somebody or give them a lap that maybe they missed or had an equipment issue, you can make these adjustments and the system will take that account and sort appropriately. If someone is disqualified before they start the race, you can go in here and you can mark them as well. So let's say Greg here, we found out that he had a illegal motor and we're going to disqualify him. I can go in here, hit DQ, and we can mark him as such even before the race begins. The next piece is lineup. Lineup is typically used when there's caution. I won't be demonstrating that in this video. We'll do that when we talk about flags and cautions in later videos. The timeline is an audit trail of everything that we see so far. So you can see there's already been some crossings that happen. When I start the race, it'll show the flags. This is a list of every crossing that we've had as the race is going on. You can go in here at any time and get an idea of what's being detected on the racetrack. Estimated position gives you some more data to talk about. Definitely very useful if you're announcing the race and looking at the race screen. You can look at this. Let's say you have many races of the same class. You can look at this and it'll constantly sort and give you a live update on who's leading with the fastest lap in the round, maybe who's going to do the best in the main. And even in the main rounds, it'll show you in a double and triple main who's actually looking like they're going to win the entire event. So definitely something that's worth looking at and keeping popped out, especially when you're announcing and looking at where your leaderboard stands. Analysis on the right-hand side is a quick way to get more information about drivers. If you put in address, location, other information about a driver, it also can give you a background of what were the races they already did during the event. Another great tool for announcers to be able to immediately pull up information and get a better idea about the driver. Finally, the announcement section is a log that just continuously writes information as the race goes. If there's new leaders, if the race has started, if there's a flag being thrown, those things show up in the log. It's a good reference point, again, for someone who's doing announcing. I'm going to close out the announcements piece now, and we'll go into actually starting a race, and then let's talk about what you can do during the course of a race. Okay, so I have the race screen up right now. We have people that are checking in. It's flashing yellow whenever they're going across the finish line. I'm going to go ahead and start the race by clicking the Start Race button. Once the race begins, the clock starts working its way down. You can see how much time has elapsed and how much time is left. As we're going through, you can kind of see that people are crossing the line. Okay, now take a look. You see how there's certain people that are flashing red. That's bad. Somehow those people aren't being counted. So what I can do is I can open up on the right-hand side the laps and splits. And I'm going to look up Mo while the race is going on. You see there's only been 2 laps right now that have been counted. But if I go in here and I choose all instead of valid ones, you can see that a bunch of laps are being thrown out. I wonder why. I'm going to go to the left and click on the settings, go to the top and go, oh, this person's doing a lot of laps that are under the minimum lap time. Whoops, I meant to make the minimum lap time 5 seconds. If I go in here and I click 5 instead of 10, the system immediately recalculates, and now all of those laps are correct. And if I click these back out so they can't see anymore, what the flyouts anymore, what you're going to notice is that it is completely resorted, and now all the laps that were 5 seconds are now counted, and it's now in the right order, and Mo's in the lead, whereas before it was throwing out a lot of his laps. A few things to point out. As the guys are doing laps, there's a little progress bar that goes from left to right. That's to give you an idea that's based on their average lap time of where they are over the course of the racetrack. So you can look at Mo. Okay, he just crossed the line. All right, he's halfway there. Okay, he's about to cross the finish line again. Okay, so using this, you can quickly look at it and go, okay, I have an idea of where he might be on the track. The system also colors them orange, and they'll color them red if they're past the average lap. So if someone stays red for too long, that's a good indication, hey, they should have been passing the start-finish line. They haven't yet. What happened? Did they crash out, or is there an equipment issue that I need to deal with? As the race is going on as well, it's always going to show you the last 10 laps along the bottom, so you can keep an eye on it. If there's a fast lap, it'll put it in green, just like Tom here got his fastest lap of the race with a 7.102. And you notice it stays in green as it goes. Under the fast lap column, that also adheres to what he had here, that 7.102. We also do highlight some things as well. In the fast lap column, the one with the background in green is the fastest lap that anyone got in the entire race. So we're giving you a lot of data here. You can use it to announce and bring up this information as the race is going on. So we're 2 minutes and 50 seconds into it, 2 minutes about left. I'm going to bring up the timeline here on the right-hand side really quick to just demonstrate what I talked about before. Here's the audit trail of every crossing that's happened so far. I can click this lock to not make it scroll up and down automatically. And you can see I can kind of go up and down and look at the entire race. So here's the race start, the green flag, and here's everything chronologically in order. Every hit, who crossed, and exactly at what time. So you can do a little audit. You can look at this if you're curious about it. You can unlock it, and then it'll continue to just follow and keep scrolling as people are crossing the line. Additionally, too, if I use the laps and splits on the right-hand side, here's that ongoing list of all the laps that Mo did. I can switch that to Corey, and I can see all the laps that Corey did. Corey right now has 33 laps. If I look at this and go, you know, that second lap, he shouldn't have gotten that. Notice it's at 34. I'll delete it. Now he's at 33. I've told the system, throw that lap out. Notice also that because I said that crossing is invalid, his next lap was actually a 13-second lap, because that's the next time it crossed. So the system said there hasn't been a valid crossing for 13 seconds. That's a 13-second lap. If I make a mistake and want to undo it, I can do that. It'll undo it, recalculate it. Now he's up to 37. Notice you can do this in real time while the race is going on. So it can immediately change and everyone can see the latest update after you make adjustments. We're 35 seconds left. We can certainly change columns during the race. You can see I can reorganize things as well. I can scroll back and forth. There is in the lower right corner a zoom that if you want to get a little bit bigger, you can do that, or smaller. That can help see more data at once, or if you really need to kind of blow it up so you can look at it better, you can do that as well. So feel free to use the zoom feature to help out. And we're just about at the end of the race. Now remember, this is a staggered start race, so everyone gets their own 5 minutes. So whenever they cross the finish line at the beginning, they get to run until they cross the line after 5 minutes. The system will color them orange when it detects that they're on their last lap by default. Once they actually cross again, then they go orange and they're done. Now keep in mind, Greg here was DQ'd. He's never going to cross, so he's going to stay orange forever until we actually finish the race. Once we feel comfortable with the results and there's nothing more going on actively on the track, at this point I can go ahead and hit finish race and the system will properly do it. Everything will go gray and you'll see that the race is completed. At that point on the race screen, the system allows you to clear results. If you do that, that deletes all results and it gets back to running the race again. So definitely don't do that unless you intend to restart the race and throw out all the results. At this point, if you want to edit the results, you can go right to the race editor. We'll cover that in a different video. You can view the results, which immediately goes to the race result report. And I'll zoom in here as well, and we can see that the results are showing. You can go ahead and print and export however you want. You can go and directly print, and you can even view the round results. There's an option here as well to do texting. We'll cover that in a different video, but we do have some options there as well. If you want to make it official, so you have somebody, you have a process where you actually want to check it off and say, yep, it's done, I can mark it official, put my initials to it, and the system will record that just in case you have some audit trail, in the future where, we want to make sure that some result is final. This is all optional. It's just there if you want to have an audit trail as well. So that's it. That's the whole process of looking at all the flyouts, starting a race, some things you can do while you're running the race, and finishing it. I'm going to do one other thing. I'm actually going to clear the results and start the race again just to show you a couple more options. So I'm going to clear the results.
Moaga.
I'm going to start the race again. And I want to point out one other thing, or really just mention that there are a lot of right-click options as well. So if you're in the middle of a race and someone missed a lap or you need to make an adjustment, you certainly can use the flyout here in the adjustments to say, I want to add one lap to Corey, for example, and there you go. But you could also right-click and say adjustment 1 lap, and that's a real quick way to give Corey an extra lap, and you'll notice it adds it right to the adjustment screen as well. There are ways to not only do an adjustment, but this add manual lap is this if it's going to ask like it actually crossed the line. So it'll adhere to any rules. Adjustments don't. You say, I'm going to add a lap, the system adds a lap. But if you say add a manual lap, that's like hand scoring. And if you hand score somebody and they don't meet the minimum lap time, for example, it will still throw it out. So just keep that in mind. If a transponder is accidentally added to somebody and it's the wrong one, you can right-click on them and say delete transponder. Then it'll clear it out. And the next time a transponder crosses, it'll pop up below and you can click and drag it over, Corey, the right transponder, just as if you didn't have a transponder assigned in the first place. So just like we showed it earlier in the video as well. So right-clicking is a big deal. Definitely make sure to utilize that. You can right-click and say delete last lap if for some reason someone jumped the track and triggered a start-finish crossing that they shouldn't. You can quickly just go to that person, right-click and say delete lap to remove it as well. That's a quick edit that happens once in a while as well. So I believe with that, we've covered a lot of things on the race screen. Definitely have at it. Try using the race screen, and definitely also use hold in the control key and hit the number button as well to simulate crossings. You don't need to have people crossing on a transponder or a decoder loop to start testing and start feeling this out. change some settings, use your keyboard to hit some of those buttons, and simulate some settings before you actually go racing. All that prep will make sure that you have a smooth race program when you do have people actually on the track. And with that, thank you for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one.